I have get my reindeer from my father and my mother. Also got reindeers from their parents. When I think about this, when they are destroying our living, I haven't a kid yet. But if I get, then I think that he or she has to find another work.
The indigenous people live from herding and from the nature in the north. And if the oil and gas industry builds up and develops in the same area, combined with problems that we know will come from climate change, for example, a thawing of the permafrost that makes things worse, for example, for transportation, coast erosion, vegetation changes, that is, of course, an issue that will be a challenge and a problem for the indigenous people.
I hate that. Don't mention that. We have put a fence around the town to get them out here because they eat all the few flowers we have here. But now we have the gas and the coming oil. So Hammerfest is, you can say, according to other Norwegian towns, a very rich town. Even though we know we want more money.
Well, this is the stage 1 of the whole project. They are talking about stage 2. That's a field out in the ocean. They're gonna take up more oil and stuff. So for the city, it's really good because we got money and we got new places, new homes, and yeah, the city is looking really beautiful.
Going to extract oil and gas, you need actually quite a bit of energy. And there are plans now to build a new power line, 420 volts power line from Troms County, Balsfjord in Troms County, up to Skaidi in Finnmark, and further on to the Hammerfest and the Melkøya plant. This means that this power line would cut through all of the migration patterns.
All I know that it's going to be here, going straight through our summer area here. And they have found out that the reindeer holds 1 kilometer on each side away. They don't come nearer than 1 kilometer to eat the grass, for example. I don't know if 2-3 times bigger lion comes than that. Maybe I hold 5 kilometers away.
By 2100, we would have lost between 78 and 90% of the pastures.
If the speed of the reduction continues at this pace, the research today tells us that there will not be reindeer herding as we know it today in maybe 50 years.
Does it matter that they have a very old lifestyle? Does it matter that they have knowledge that's been transferred from more or less time immemorial?
Mainis mannaan, taittaa tuska. Jala kullulla pohtanie kumona ja taholle alta kumona rahtikola saaolle. Teille mies muisteli tain saamelötsön. te pyykkijuun. Tällä pohtii strömmalinjadan vaikkera, millä muusleamasta kuottepaikki, kun saa alttu miisit kutti. Autalko linja pohtii. Ja muu maattuin tällä leamas raafalla siellä.
Global warming is going to happen much faster around the polar areas. You would have a quicker temperature rise. In the north are the place where you find reindeer herding cultures. There are over 20 indigenous peoples in the world today that live from reindeer herding. The reindeer herding peoples and the indigenous peoples living in the north are the ones that are most vulnerable because those who live most of the nature, well, they've contributed the least to global warming, CO2 emissions, but they're going to feel the consequences.
If we go as business as usual, the most likely temperature increase by the end of this century is not 2 degrees but 6 degrees. And 6 degrees is an enormous number. Just to give an example, when we have the difference between an ice age and a warm period, which we live in now, it's less than 10 degrees Celsius. So 6 degrees is a huge number when you look at the climate.
If the ice disappears, we could see an explosion of human activity in the Arctic.
Quite a few unknowns, and one of them are that we have in permafrost, in frozen ground, there is greenhouse gases like methane and CO2 frozen in, so they are captured there. And when you are thawing the permafrost, these greenhouse gases will be released, so it will be an additional burden, if you wish to put it like that, on the emissions that we do already today. There are other unknowns too. The capacity of the world's ocean to absorb more CO2 is a big question mark. We know that the capacity has been weakened, accelerating the global warming.
In wintertime, when there's snow on the ground, if you have a mild period suddenly coming with plus degrees Celsius and rain on the snow, followed by a cold, then you would have ice layers forming in the snow, encapsulating lichen and other types of food in ice. And let me remind you that reindeer as a species has always sort of followed the ice edge. It's an animal that's been around for 15 million years. You have to remember that reindeer herding as a phenomenon has kept a continuity in culture and knowledge from time immemorial up until today in these often relatively dispersed and small indigenous communities. And these communities have some knowledge that no one else has. Reindeer would be replaced by other species. Its food, its postures would change in time.
Reindeers is wild animals. It can't be standing in farms. Then it's like a cow or sheep. And that's expensive to feed 2,000 reindeers all the year. One reindeer can't give so much money back that she feeds himself for 1 year. Then we have to find another jobs to money and living.
We should protect land because the Sami people are dependent on the land.
How are we going to manage the Arctic for the future? That's a good question.
And there will be more oil and gas industry in Sami areas.
The change we've seen up until now is just a start. Just the start of it.
But it's a long way from political will to action, and that is the biggest challenge we have.
You hear the sound, and it calls indigenous people around the world to be aware of who they are, to be aware of their language, to hold on to your culture. Hold on to your culture, whatever you may do, and regardless how far your journey will take you, it's extremely important for you to hold on to your language and hold on to your culture. We bring hope.